Texas toast, I think it is. Garlic bread Texas toast. Stuff, whatever it said on the thing. This is something I was asked about a couple of times, so I had grabbed a thing at a Food Lion they had, and I said, this should work, right? So I made 3 of the slices here. I cooked 3 of the slices in that oven thing. Unfortunately, don't have any like marinara sauce or anything like that. Different location here in the kitchen. You see the stove back there. That's her coffee-related stuff. That's like, you can't see it behind me, but it's like the coffee section, which I don't use. It's freaking cold out today, man. Cold for here. It would drop back down to the 20s. It was like high 60s last week. Annoying, but what do you do? There's a lot of noises in here. The fridge is on. Now the heater's on. There's a vent over there. These ended up. I had them in that thing for like 7 minutes. And they came out nice and not too crispy. I don't like any kind of like garlic bread or Texas toast, whatever. I don't like it too like crispy. I like there to be a little flexibility. Like I said, I wanted to kind of film a little more in different locations this year. So this is a spot I would utilize, and I've filmed here before in the past. Not in a while. When we first got down here, I definitely filmed a few times. I'm watching the cat rub her face against the freaking. We have a thing over there with a couple of plants on it, and sometimes it's a little wobbly. She's rubbing her freaking face on it. Yeah, that's right. Look out the window instead. Like right over here is the door to the deck. She's looking out there. We let her out there, or the front porch. Here it's enclosed, so nice little place for her to get outside. Get some fresh air. The front, we have to put the little gate thing up. She'll watch the birds, squirrels and stuff. There's another cat that comes around that she does not like. One time my fiance was out there doing something and she moved the gate just for a minute, real quickly. But the cat appeared and our cat Hannah, like literally chased this cat onto the lawn, and then the cat ran. Thankfully she stopped. And she didn't go anywhere outside the lawn, but she does not like other cats. Well, we were told that when we adopted her. It seems to be the case. was saying something before. Oh, different. As I bounce to a different subject, different filming locations. I figured that I might film more here, and then I use the other part. The dining room's right here, so you've seen that one, that picture in the background. And I've done most on the couch in the back room and the garage. Did I do any in the garage yet? I don't think so. I have to do a shady vid this week, so that's going to most likely be in the garage. We have to straighten up the garage a little bit. All the stuff we brought back from my mom's, I gotta get that on the shelves, tools and stuff. Gotta straighten out the shelves. And put some stuff in the shed. This is like what I'm sitting at is, I guess the people that lived here, this would have had to have been put in. I mean, maybe at the same time. They must have had it set up at the same time as the full kitchen, but it's literally like a big desk, kind of, and there's cabinets right here. Up top, like glass ones. It's pretty big. So this, I would assume, was a workspace for somebody. I guess my blood has thinned out a little bit down here because I don't. It gets like a little bit cold, and I'm like, oh god, no. Even though I was used to it back in New York, it's like, no, I don't know. Because it's definitely, when it hits like the 20s, like throughout the whole day down here, like that is colder than normal for here. So I'm not a fan. I don't know where she went. You probably would have seen her walk away, unless my arm's in the way. She might have went back into the bedroom, I don't know. Last piece. I'll ramble here for a few minutes, as always. That was pretty good. I figured 3 was kind of the max I wanted to do. Sounds like a plane took off. Like I said, we have the little airport behind us. Not part of the little runways behind us. The airport's slightly further up. Got an airplane museum there as well, which is cool. I want to go. I still haven't gone there. I wouldn't mind checking that out sometime, though. But you see them when they come in. They'll usually come in from, like, if I'm like cutting a lawn or something, I'll see them out there. They'll come in from over that way. And they go down further, and then they make the loop around. It's kind of nice watching them and listening to them take off. It's nice seeing. It's a pretty, actually, calming sound. It's just prop planes and stuff. Some helicopters also will fly around occasionally and land there. I don't know, like maybe, I mean, you could get a little private plane in there, sure. Like, not a prop plane, but like I don't know, maybe sits like 15 people or something. Could land there. Well, the runway's not. I mean, it's not short, but I don't know. It's kind of cool having that little airport back there. Something comforting to listening to planes take off or hearing them go around and stuff. Yeah, I gotta film a shady video later in the week. I've got to do the divisional round. I'm filming this Monday for Tuesday, and then I'll be, depending on how this is viewing, I don't know how this is gonna view. I might end up getting the divisional round recap up Tuesday as well. If not, it will be Wednesday. It'll be filmed Tuesday, tomorrow. I want to do a shady vid. I probably will do another whispering game collection. I swear there's something else I wanted to do and I cannot remember. What else is new? And other stuff that pops into my head. I'll talk about the divisional round games in the recap. If you're fans of football, you obviously already know who's won. I will say, of course, well, I'll give away one. Giveaway. Of course, Denver's playing the Bills, so I was hoping that wouldn't happen, but that's going to be a tough one. If they do, they most likely will lose, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I can be honest as a fan of my team, especially because I don't go as hard rooting for them as I used to when I was a kid. I've talked about that in the past. When I was a kid, like when I was like 11, 12 to like, I'm trying to think, even this, and it was almost a benefit in a way. I was already losing a little bit of interest. When Peyton got there, it was cool. Peyton Manning, they signed him. And then they lost that game to the Ravens. I think it ended up going to double overtime, like it ended early in double. Classic game. This didn't go Denver's way. It was a great game, but the guy, I forget who the safety was. Denver was up, and then Baltimore had to score at the end of regulation. Somebody blew a coverage or something, and it was like a 50-yard touchdown. I was just like in shock. I was like, are you kidding me? But the following year, when they had that like record-breaking offensive season, and they got just annihilated by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, like I knew that game it was a safety on the first game, the play of the game. It was the first game play. I was like, I said, they're done. I'm like, they're fucking done. I'm like, they're not winning this game. Part of me was like, this is going to be a blowout. And the game was going so, because Denver's D was doing all right at first. Now you got to remember, I think they let up an interception return for touchdown and a kickoff return. So 14 of those points were not on the defense. But they were tired. It was still like, it might have been like, what was it, like 22-0 or 15-0 at the half. But either way, I was like, this is going to be bad. And the 43-8, it was a destruction. And that was a great Denver team. That's just how well Seattle's D was that year. It was an all-time defensive effort for them that season. And Denver couldn't match the intensity. Even if they had lost the game like 27-20 or something. Like they couldn't match 2% of the intensity. That was the Super Bowl in the Meadowlands. Whatever the MetLife Stadium, whatever they call it now, in Jersey. So they were like, oh yeah, we're going to go to a cold weather city. That's not in a dome. I was like, oh shit. That's also not going to help with Peyton. They did get a penny touchdown at some point. I think it was Demaryius Thomas got it from Peyton. And then they ended up, and then that really took a lot out of me. I was like, I can't, because I was pissed, but I was more just like, dude, they're getting destroyed, whatever. Getting angry the whole game didn't matter, because by the half, it was like, this is, at the end, like I said, on that first play, I was like, they're done. But by the half, I was like, yeah, there's not even a chance, like a hope of them doing anything remotely, in this game, anything. And then they ended up losing to the Colts the next year at home, the first game. And that didn't bother me that much, because that's when Peyton, the second half of the 14th season is when Peyton started to, you're like, okay, he's probably done. And then he sucked in the Super. When they won the Super Bowl, he sucked. He had some moments in the playoffs though where he, like against the Patriots, he had a really good first quarter, threw a couple touchdowns. Even in the Super Bowl was kind of a defensive effort on both teams. It was a bad Super Bowl, but whatever. They won, and I was happy that they won, no doubt about it, but not as like excited as I would have been if I was super into my fandom. But point being, I should thank the Seahawks because that really, I was already losing a bit of interest, still following and watching games and getting pissed. But not like I was when I was a kid, when I would flip out and break things like an idiot. Like I'm like fucking 13 years old, like losing my shit over a game in the first game of the season, you know? But that game took a lot out of me where I was like, it's not worth it. And I would still follow them. Like I said, the loss next year to the Colts didn't bother me too much. And then even when they won the Super Bowl, I was happy when I was more excited when they beat the Patriots in the championship game than I was to be a Super Bowl. But they typically beat the Patriots in the playoffs. Against Brady, they were 3-1 against him. The only loss was the Tebow blowout. When Tebow was the quarterback, they did beat the Steelers that year, which was really cool. But then even that game, I was like, ooh. It was like 14-7, and then it ended up like 40-something to 10. I was like, oh my God. I think I turned that one off because I was like, this is done. I can't. But every other time they beat him. They beat him with Plummer as a QB, and would have been the 06 playoff. It was the 05 season. And they beat him again twice when Peyton was the quarterback. 14th season 13th season and the 15th season, whatever. Anyway, I just rambled on there about my fandom of the Broncos. But anyway, just eating Texas toast, garlic Texas, I forgot what it said. And rambling here today. And thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.